In last video we created this base entity where we taken care of all the common columns that is needed for auditing. So this one is created by, updated by, and created at, updated at. Basically these four fields will be required in every table, plus I'm taking reference ID in every table, and every table should have this thing ID. So this will be like abstract class. In user entity, basically I am extending base entity, and here I'll create all the required attribute. Basically there are ton more, but I'll create whatever is needed for this particular application. You can add more or reduce some, whatever you feel. And before going with user entity, I'll enable JPA auditing. Now I'll go back to my user entity class, and here I'll start coding. So I have named this class as user entity. So first thing I'll do, I'll change the table name, otherwise it will create table name as user entity. So I'll make table name equal to users, and then I'll have getter and setter. Then I'll make user builder pattern. I'll also annotate it at to a string, then no arg constructor and all arg constructor. And I'll make this as entity. Now this is our entity, so it will create, JPA will create a table for this particular class. I'll add private string user ID. Sometime I will be making use of direct ID, and sometime I will be making use of this user ID. So I'll add this. Next we need first name, last name. I'll add email. Email will be like primary login way. Like using email only we will be able to log into this particular system. So this should be unique. I'll make all the unique field as unique by annotating it. For now I'll add all the required attribute. I'll add login attempts count so that we can prevent our system from brute force attacks. Maybe like on 5 wrong login attempts we can block the user. So I'll add integer. Then I'll add the last login date. Like when user last login into our system, we can show on like user profile. Plus we can keep track of like when, like this will be useful during auditing. Phone we can make it like big int or anything, but a string is preferred here. At some time it will be like +91, and then it will be 10-digit code. So totally it will be like around 10 plus 3 kind of lengths. I'll add bio, then For adding profile picture, I'll add image URL. So in this, we will look into like how we can upload image from different front-end clients plus using Postman. Then we can add date of birth as well if we need this thing. Otherwise, we can skip this totally. I'll add boolean account non-expired. This is useful when we will be making use of a Spring security. So these details will be like kind of part of like a Spring principle as well from user detail service, whatever we will get. So basically we can pass these details to that particular uh, principle from here. So these are kind of required fields for a Spring security. Private, boolean, account unlocked. Then we can check whether account is enabled or not. Even we can add like credential is expired or not, and based on that basically we can force user to change their password. Then this system will be having multi-factor authentication, so we will keep track of user multi-factor authentication as well. And for user basically what we will do, like for multi-factor authentication we have to keep track of QR code plus QR code secret, so that will be really long string. I'll add QR code, and for this QR code generation and keeping track of this secret, basically I will be making use of one external library that I'll show you later. A string. This will be really long image URI, so I'll make it as text in database as well. And here basically we can have different roles if we are making use of normal application. Like if it is not multi-tenant application, then we can have string role, or maybe we can create a table. I'll create a table only and make use of role entity here. So as I am making multi-tenant application, so this will be part of our other table where basically we will keep track of like user ID, organization, and in that particular organization what is his role. If global user role we want to keep track, then we can keep this role here. Otherwise we can make it organization specific, so that he can like log in with proper permissions in that particular organization. So for this particular system, global system, he will be like user only, and for that particular organization whatever role has been given, so that role he will carry, and he can do that particular type of operations. So I'll skip that role thing here. And next, basically multi-tenant, I will be having user organization role entity. So I'll add letter here, user organization entity here. So basically that will keep track of everything like ID, user ID, organization ID, and whatever role he has been given for that particular organization, that role ID. Means role ID will be based on this role ID, we will go to the database and we will decide like what type of role he is having currently. Next, I'll need like credential as well to log in into any application, and we don't want to expose credential via any entity or any DTO. So what we will do, we will create a separate table. There we will keep track of credential and when it got last updated, those things. Here we are like keeping track of whole entity. So if we keep credential separate, in that way basically we can check like when that credential got updated. So we will keep separate credential entity. So I'll create one more entity, credential entity, and again basically I'll extend our base entity. And I'll copy these all getter, setter, builder, and every other things from, and I'll head here. And basically this credential entity, I'll make it as credential table. And I'll like all the non-default fields should be not included. So I'll make it of JSON include dot include and non-default. I'll make a static import. Okay, now we need password here. So and somehow we should link this password to that user table. So we need user ID here. So I'll add private user entity, and it is giving me error because we have to mark it as like what type of relationship it will carry, one to many, many to one, whatever is feasible here. I'll go back to my user entity class and mark these all fields like this user ID should be unique, and it should be like it should not be updated by any other user, plus it should not be null. So I'll define a column definition, column updatable false, unique true, and nullable false. And for the email ID as well, it should be unique for that particular user. So column unique true, and it can't be null, so nullable false. And this QR code should not be visible to the user, so I'll ignore this, just an ignore. And this should be really long string, so I'll make it as text for database as well, column, and column definition, it should be text. I'll go back to credential entity Here basically I'll start writing relationship. So like one user should have basically one credential, otherwise it will create problem for the application if it is having multiple credential. So it should be one to one relationship. One to one. And basically how we want to join, so those things I'll define here. Before that I'll give it target entity, user entity dot class, and fetch type should be eager, because whenever user is ready we should have password as well. So I'll make it as fetch eager, and I'll join this on user ID. So at join column, and the name should be I'll make it nullable false, and on delete it should be deleted as well. So action should be on delete cascade. So if like user entity is getting deleted, then this particular credential will be also deleted. And it is kind of like best practice. In this way basically you won't be having any orphan tables. I'll make JSON identity info as like generator should be property generator. So object id generator dot, okay, it should be generators dot property generator dot class, and property should be id. And I'll make JSON identity reference on always id true, always id as true. And I'll make this property as user id. And basically like whenever anyone creating this object, he should pass user entity along with password. So basically I'll generate constructor for this one, and I'll take both parameter from the caller itself. Okay, so like basically I have all our constructors. So it was asking me to delete this particular, we don't need. So we have our credential class, we have our entity class, and after any record creation we will be sending message or email to the user to activate their account. So we need one confirmation entity as well. So I'll create one more class, confirmation entity. I'll copy paste all the this thing, getter, setter, and everything other things. And plus this table name should be confirmations, and it should extend again base entity, and it should have user ID as a column. So I'll add user entity, and basically there should be one unique key. So I'll generate random generated string, and based on that key basically I'll try to find confirmation for that particular user, and based on that confirmation key only basically I'll activate the account. So I'll have one reference key, and this user entity, like again it should have one-to-one mapping. So I'll add one-to-one, and target entity same like previous mapping here, whatever I did. One-to-one target entity should be user entity dot class, and the join column should be again same. On delete it should be deleted, and yeah, everything I'll copy from here. And again for confirmation entity we need our this thing one, like all our constructor. So I'll generate constructor. This time we need this constructor because we want to generate random key from here. So I'll make use of UUID from Java, and then I'll do the random UUID, and I will convert it to a string. So this way we will be having one key plus user entity, and we can ignore this, or maybe we can remove this from here. If you don't like this warning, we can remove this from here. Now we have our base entity, credential entity, confirmation entity. We can go and start creating our service class. So I'll create one more package, service, and inside that I'll create like basically I'll make use of solid pattern. So I'll create one interface, and for that interface basically I'll create implementation class. So I need user service interface, and here basically I'll need one method that should create user, void create user, and I'll take all the fields from user, like first name, last name, email, password, and basically using this field rest other fields we can like during creation only we can set those. And we need roles, like to get that role name from the database. So I'll add role entity basically, and basically we will get role name from using a string. Like let's say user is passing user role, maybe admin role, so we will get whole role entity. I'll create this role entity in entity package. I'll add everything from here. So we have getter, setter, builder pattern to a string, no arc constructor, all arc constructor, entity, and table name should be roles. And also like non default field should be excluded. So I'll add that. And this will be having first thing name. Basically this will be role name as like user, admin, super admin. Maybe if I am building let's say for multiple type of organization in this multi-tenant. So let's say we have in that one organization type as school. So in a school also we have different roles like teacher, student, parents. So those role names should be here. Plus we will define authorities like what kind of permission he should have. So basically I'll add authority. So based on this authorities, basically we can decide what type of permission he has. We will give it as a string, like let's say we have our user table. So on user table, if he is having let's say admin role, I mean role name should be here. So if he is having admin role, so he should have this type of permission like user table. He can read on user. He can do soft delete, like hard delete in any application we should not support. So soft delete means like somehow we will disable that RT, and basically no one will be able to see that particular record, but in database actually it will be there. So he can update, he can maybe delete, and any other permission we want to do, like let's say we have other table like student and any other table. So we will simply update these authorities, and based on these authorities basically he will be able to perform, or he will be able to call that particular type of API only. And I'll extend base entity again here, extends entity. We have like name authorities, so I'll create one authority where I'll keep track of everything. So I'll go back to our package structure and I'll create one more package. I'll make it as enumeration, and inside enumeration basically I'll add like authority enum. So I'll select enum authority, and this authority will be having all the table like we discussed earlier, user and the permission, again for admin whatever permission we want, and we will modify this later again. So for now I'll create user, admin, admin, manager, and this should have authorities, whatever authorities we have discussed earlier, like delete, update, all the permission it should have. So what I will need, I'll need to pass here user authorities. So in these authorities, we will decide what are the operation he can do. Same for admin authorities, we can pass admin authorities. For super admin authorities, for manager authorities, and I'll add more here once we have our application growing up. So this would be like any constants. So either we can create our uh, constant here, or we can create one more package constant, and there we can define everything. So I'll create one more package constants, and inside that I'll create simply constant class only, and inside that I'll define all the constant, like whatever we have created here, user authorities and other thing in authority. I'll copy this. Okay, and I'll rename this admin authorities. This should be super admin, and this should be manager. And we can give here different authorities, like he can do create only. Let's say I'll update this table later, and for admin I'll copy and paste few things from, and I'll explain it. So basically for user authorities, like I have added from different application where I have document table. So on document he can create, he can update, he can delete, he can read, but admin can like read on user table, update, read, create. On document same, he can do delete and read and update other things. For super admin I have like he can create, update, read, delete on user table, plus he can do document, create, update, delete, read. So these are my basic permissions that I have added here. Basically I'll modify it later. For now I'll leave it as it is, and I'll import inside my authority. So I'll do import. Same for this one, import, import. I believe I have named wrongly here, super admin. Yes, super admin authorities. So I'll pass it here, and I'll import that. So we have our authority, and inside authority basically it is giving me this thing like for argument. So I'll create matching constructor, authority, and it should take a string, and basically it should set value. So I'll assign values as well here. So after defining, I'll add like this dot value should be value. And to getting this value, basically, second next semicolon. To getting this value, I'll give a like get method. Using that, basically we can get value from this inside whatever we have. So I'll add public string get value, and it should return this value. I'll import this. I'll import this. So we have our service class, where in service basically we are creating user, and we are getting role name, and basically we will verify the account with the account key. So we should not return anything. I'll create one implementation package here. It should be package. I was creating class, and inside that I'll create user implementation class. Here I'll implement this user service. I should override all the methods. So this is there, and I'll make it as service. And here basically we should have all the repository class to get data from database. So basically we have to create one repository package here. Oops, I'll undo it. I'll create package, and inside that package I'll create one interface. User repository. In modern Spring, actually we don't need this annotations, but like having it make it like clear that this is repository interface. So I'll mark it as in repository, and it will extends from JPA repository, and the first parameter should be class name. So I'll pass here user entity, and as a ID I'll pass long. I'll add few extra method. It will be having by default like find by ID, find by like save, delete, those methods it is having. So I'll add one method to find by email and find by user ID, and it should return user entity. So I'll add optional user entity, and then find by like whatever field name we have we can pass here. I mean, from the database it will look for that particular column name. Like here we have in user entity, where it is in user entity we have email, so we can pass like we have one default method find by ID, so we can pass in same way like we want to get it find by. So this is basically column name. So whatever column we want we can pass here, simply find by that particular column name, and we can get that value using that particular column name. And I want to ignore the cases, so I'll pass ignore case. So any case like camel case, uppercase, lowercase, in any case if you are passing correct email, so it will try to find that. I'll take as parameter inside email, and again I'll try to find user using user ID. Optional user entity, find user by user ID, and it should take user ID from the user. Oops. Done. We can go back into our service class, and we can simply do the dependency injection. We have two ways to do dependency injection, basically using autowire and using this thing constructor injection. So nowadays people are doing constructor injection, plus that is a good way to handling this thing like dependency injection. So I'll add private final so that it will do automatically dependency injection. Private final user user repository, and here I'll do all our constructor, I mean required our constructor. So as it is final, so it will generate required our constructor using this particular user repository. And for logging, I'll take log4j, sl4j, sorry. And here in create user, basically from user entity, basically like we have this field, so I can simply create user, and from user we can take user ID, and based on user ID we can do operations. So I think this video is getting long, so I'll start creating other repository like role repository, credential repository, confirmation repository in next video.